This morning, we got a big reveal from Target. It was something that they were teasing over the past couple of days, that they'd be doing some new reveals of Transformer product. One of them was, of course, that of the Road Rage that we've been discussing for many months now and has been confirmed as a Target exclusive. That's two RED exclusives for their red card. And both of them are red Transformers, in that of Road Rage and previously to that of T-Rex. Now we have something else. I don't know if this is a Target exclusive per se, because this has been shown on Amazon listings, and we'll go into that, which was a little under 3 months ago in late June. There were some listings that popped up on Amazon, and one of them were that of a Transformers collaborative of a character called Draculus. It led to all kinds of speculation, and then later on we got a more finalized title, which was a Transformers collaborative Universal Monsters mashup Dracula DRACULUS. And we talked about it 3 months ago, and I'll kind of reiterate what we thought it was back then, because I thought it was going to be, hey, maybe we're going to be diving into Takara's past, where back in 1988, there was a pitch and concept art for a spin-off line for Transformers called the Vintage Horror Movie Series, and it was going to have Dracula, the creature from the Black Lagoon, and the Fly as Transformers, and it was something that they thought they were going to do maybe at some point. And probably due to licensing and all kinds of stuff like that. Now, granted, Dracula as a whole is actually license-free content, or public domain as it's known, but the other two are not the case, so I think that's probably why it all didn't happen in the end. And that was that. And now it looks like it's going to be happening. We finally have a good look at the packaging of the product and the robot mode, thanks to this app leak from Target's website, which I believe all this stuff is going to be going live for pre-order today anyways. And no surprise, like many of us speculated, it's going to be a Transformers Titan Returns Mindwipe retool into that of the classic Universal Monsters character of Dracula. And much like a lot of the early speculation and leaks and everything, the box art is going to be an homage to the classic VHS cover of the Bela Lugosi Dracula movie. Now, obviously, the front of it isn't 100% copying the VHS design, but if you actually look at the background behind Draculus, or Dracula, on both the original VHS and the Transformer one here, it has the same staircase background and everything like that. So little throwbacks to all of that. Now, there's some misinformation here that's been kicking around online through the fandom, that some people are saying that that this was going to be a repaint retool of the Buzzworthy Bumblebee 4-pack Fangry, which is actually a repaint retool of Grotesque and Twinferno, and that it was going to have the floppy legs, and of course that's all incorrect. It's actually a Mindwipe retool, so just keep that in mind. Now, this Mindwipe retool, I mean, the Mindwipe mold came out in 2016, and it recently had a Retro Headmasters reissue in 2020 of last year. Some of them are probably still kicking around, and it's still pretty solid mold, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. So what do we get this time around, pretty much? Well, aside from the fancy box and the collaborative, which has 2021 on it and everything, Universal Monsters, the VHS copy. Again, it looks cool. The actual mold itself, it looks like they retooled the upper body chest specifically, not the arms or the shoulders, but just the chest, to give it that tuxedo kind of sculpting as opposed to the original Mindwipe. And it gave a brand new head sculpt that I think is actually bolted in kind of head, instead of it being a removable headmaster. And I think that's the case primarily because with the Mindwipe mold, you don't need to remove the headmaster to achieve the transformation. It doesn't conflict with it. When you actually transform the Mindwipe, the headmaster just kind of, it just kind of hangs. It's like a hanging head, giggity, at the bottom of the bat mode kind of looks like a hanging scrotum now that I look at it. Double giggity. So if you, I mean, so if it, you know, if the head is not removable, it doesn't affect the transformation and it'll still work just fine. So that's what it looks like. I mean, I don't think it's a headmaster. I think they just made a brand new head sculpt that matches that Bela Lugosi kind of look. And that is that. It's kind of a shame it doesn't have the bow tie like the old concept art. But it does have the high collar and all the nice little details there. Again, the upper body has been retooled and it looks really, really nice, and I dig that. It looks very, very cool. We just don't have an idea of what the bat mode looks like, but probably going to look more or less the same, judging by the bat mode is heavily reliant on a lot of the other stuff that hasn't been retooled here, like the legs and everything like that. Although the front of the bat chest, which is probably where the headmaster, you know, would normally be stored, or the cockpit, that's probably going to be retooled also. So I'm really curious how that's going to look. We'll probably get some images hopefully before our stream starts tomorrow on Saturday. But this looks really cool. I like it a lot. I like that it's, again, it pulls from that old Takara history. You know, like I always say, like I love Transformer product that does something that they never got to do before, that was an idea before, you know, going all the way back to stuff like Unicron, or even that of other weird characters like RC and everything that just never got toys, and then we finally got toys of them, and Alpha Trion and so many of them. This is another one of those from Takara's history where you go back in the archives, you go back at the concept art that never got to happen, and here was that vintage horror movie series, and Dracula was one of them, and now finally, all those years later, you know, it's crazy when you think about it, you know, that it's more than 30 years later, and finally this figure gets to happen. And I like the packaging. I like the throwback packaging to that old VHS cover kind of look. I wonder if it's going to be around the same size. That'd be really cool to have, like, you know, in your display of VHSs, that you could have something that's the same size. Probably not. It's definitely not going to happen. They'd have to really flatten the figure to fit it in there in robot mode. Kind of, but you never know, maybe they could figure out something. But I really dig it. I think it looks really cool. Supposedly pre-orders are going to be going live any moment as you're hearing my voice, so keep an eye out for that. But I think it's really cool. Again, weapons, there's no new weapons. It's still the same weapons that come with Mindwipe. It's really just a retooled chest and brand new head sculpt that isn't a headmaster, in my opinion. And everything else is just the black and white repaint. Looks really nice. I dig it. Let me know what you think, and maybe, who knows, maybe we'll see in the future the Black Lagoon and the Fly, although those ones are going to involve licensing, so that might be a little more of a headache. But still pretty awesome stuff, and maybe we'll be able to talk about that bat mode and maybe some better images and information when we have our stream tomorrow.